Good morning. This is early Sunday morning. I don't even know what month it is, I think. I don't know. But it is good to be with you this morning. And I hope this video finds each and every one of you well. And if not, keep working on it. I wanted to talk about that and talk about the individuality of detoxification, because this is something that's important to understand. You know, when you look around, and it is said that there isn't two things that are ever exactly the same. No two snowflakes are exactly the same. How many snowflakes you think fall in just one season around the globe? It's unfathomable by the human mind to understand the infinite and that which creates all things. You can't understand it intellectually, obviously, and so then you the seeking of that which is has always taken place at this level. The seeking from the human consciousness to the Godhead. When in reality, it's the other way around. It's the Godhead moves into its finite forms to experience itself. And so I wanted to talk about the individuality of each and every one of you, because that's the beauty of it is. In your deepest, most inner self, you and I and all of us are it. We're that which is the creator, because there's only one creator, that which is all things. So it's hard for the mind to get itself around that which is all, that which is infinite, when the mind deals in the finite worlds of creation and deals with separation, deals with analytical thinking, deals with comparison, rationales, and relationships. That doesn't exist in consciousness, because consciousness just is. So every little thing here is just like school. There's all these different levels and grades of school. Well, there's all these different levels of consciousness, or states of consciousness. A state of consciousness is like taking out a movie and putting it into the player and watching this drama. That's one level of thinking, pulling it out and putting in another movie. Another level of consciousness. All these different states of consciousness. Some can see more of life around itself, and some states are focused. And we have different words that we use for different levels of consciousness, from redneck to intellectual to geek to all kinds of names that we give these different levels of consciousness. The problem with the mind is that it has a factor of judgment. So it judges these individualities in relationship to its conditioning and to itself and everything else. The individuality that each and every one of you have here in creation is unique. And each and every one of you have been on journeys. Journeys that included probably torture, horror, and others bliss and ecstasy. When journeying in the heavens, there's just so many levels and so many realms to experience that God is constantly experiencing itself in every level you couldn't even conceive it. We can't even conceive here in the finite world of the physical world. It's so inert and so inorganic almost that it's difficult sometimes to grasp. That's why I think you see things like marijuana, and you see things that will expand the human consciousness to get a view, to allow that mind to shut up while you have a view of a little more of the universe. Those that have been on LSD and things know that you can get into positions where a lot of the answers come into the universe, from the universe. So I was having a discussion about that the other day with a client, a YouTuber, and it seems like that each level he gets, he sees more and more and more. So this is particularly engaged, and for you healers out there, and you must understand, of course, this is kind of tied into the same thing as how long is this going to take me to get well? And you have seen this from those on YouTube and Facebook, where there are those that are getting well quick, and there are those that are working hard for it. And this is what you must consider, is when a soul brings its bodies into you. You're looking at a human body, you're looking at a mind, a mental body we call it, we're looking at an astral or emotional body, and you're looking at the soul itself. So you've got the soul with all its vehicles sitting in front of you, suffering, and doesn't know why. And so that's what I mean about creation being unconscious. And you guys are awakening up. You guys are the spiritual beings. You're waking up to that. Anyone that can hook to this level of understanding, it's time for you. Especially those that are embracing it. Some will merely come here and get the Johnny Appleseed touch and leave. They'll come back because there is no system higher than healing than this one. It's not an arrogant thing. It is what is. You can't get higher vibrational foods, high nutritive foods than properly grown, picked, ripe fruits, berries, and melons. It's the nectar of the gods for the Homo sapien. So, and this is true at every level. So you can't get any higher than that to eat. We're dealing in quality. We're dealing in confusion. Man has lost his understanding of what species he belongs to. He's foundering in this thick, egotistical mind, immature mind level. This level lacks a lot of spirituality. Spirituality is when one is touching their inner self more and sees that we're all one. Instead of fighting our differences, we love our differences. That's what creation's all about, to love your differences. But then you have the other side of that. So when you have a being coming into you, or yourself, because you're just this, you are a soul, then you've got your different bodies in creation. So you have to work through these things. And no one knows, and sometimes it's hard to get spiritual people. You can use psychics and things to maybe give you a historical look back. There is a level in the mental worlds, if you can get there and put your attention there, it is called the Akashic Records. This is in the causal level of the mental worlds, and therefore you can see your past lives. You can see your journey as well as others. You can see so many things. Some choose to look there, some choose not to. The past is always dead to the now, no question about it. But these bodies come in here with aberrations sometimes. And it is so exacting that you're put in a body physically with parents to match what you need for your continual growth and understanding, so you can be a conscious creator one day and be able to take the positive and negative and keep it in balance. That's why you're going through this created universe first. So you learn how to maintain balance. This is your journey into the world of health, nobody else's. So you must ride this journey, connect with the self, yourself. The most inner part you reach, you will see we're all there, or we're all here in a way of knowing. So important to understand, when you're dealing with people, they have so many hidden things, and including yourself. This is why we talk so much about living in the present moment and allowing the mind to work its chatter out, the emotions to work its chatter out, to where now you're not inundated with thoughts and images of the past or what you want for the future. Because you can't tell what tomorrow's going to bring in the context of what's going on here in creation. It is right now ripping and tearing people. And it will rip and tear you as long as you use your mind and emotions. As long as you care, you can be ripped. And even though you think not caring is a bad position to be in, it is not. The ultimate caring is when you connect with your true or inner self to where you're working from that position, you are then giving more of the God force to yourself and your clients. And that's the highest part of caring that there is. The other emotional caring is a trap, locks you in, because each one is on their own private journey. And if you get involved in that journey, whether it's a loved one, whether it's a relationship or family members, that's part of your freedom you just lost. And there's nothing wrong with being detached about other people's journey. You should love for what that soul is in that moment. Always assisting those, definitely, on their journey to Wellville, or God consciousness, or whatever you wish to call that. So each one is individual, and each one of you are individual. I don't know how long it takes you to go. Matter of fact, is it that important? I always felt that, grab this. For those of you that have tearing it up, like Dimitri and Yaz, and some of you guys that are tearing it up, it is important that you do that now. But remember, as time moves on and your spirituality blossoms, it'll probably bring you into balance a little more, so now you can help others. It's always good to take this level as deep as you can. I've seen Yaz go through all kinds of changes. And I haven't heard a tick out of Yaz the last two sessions that we've had. You know, sometimes we gain more health than we really personally realize because we're so into that we don't realize we've improved. It's amazing. So all of you are just, you know, some of you are getting into levels that you have to be careful because you're way out there, you know, and that's cool because those of you that do that will have incredible stories to tell. I have great stories to tell about fruitarianism. Hadn't been able to maintain it because the sense of balance helps me better to deal with people. I could selfishly go back in the woods and just love to not see anybody ever again. But that's not how life is, because we're all one. We can't hide and run from anything because it's all here. So it's just important to realize that relax. You're going to get well. Those that are struggling, those that are confused, don't be. All things are tied to one cause for the most part. Now you can get into all these different emotional issues that are suppressing the adrenals, all the past life, maybe the tortures, maybe the rapes, maybe whatever. That one has to connect to yourself, your real self, that inner consciousness of the now, to really go, fine, I'm happy with the self. It doesn't matter what happened to the bodies. Doesn't matter what happened to your bodies. Nothing can hurt you. Yeah, you can rip your arms off, rip your head off, hurt yourself, but you can't kill the soul. Important to realize that. Important to realize that in abortion. It's important to realize that in war. Everything appears to be for the game of it all. So it's enough to say, though, that let it take whatever it's going to take. Release when, how long, all these things like this, and just live it. Just be it. Be the raw foodist. Be the fruitarian if you want to try that level. Be the detoxifier, because let me tell you, becoming a detoxification specialist is a bigger deal than most people realize, because in the future, people are going to seek out, when they understand that detoxification is how you get to Wellville. Detoxification is how you clean out all these acids, all these proteins, all these chemicals, all this stuff, all this radiation. There's only one word for all that. You have to detoxify that. Well, what about cell damage, genetic thinking of cells? Right in the mix with it. Matter of fact, the detoxification specialist knows so much more about all that than your average medical doctor, naturopath, homeopath, all these other people. You guys have a big step up. Use it to help others, because you are gaining an awareness that is meant for you to get out, not only for yourself, but even to be a Johnny Appleseed. Those that don't want to talk to others, no big deal. Lead by example. Be the light when you're with people. Give the love and the joy and the hugs. Start your own energetic move toward Wellville and bring those around you with your light and your beauty. If you're fighting inside of your mind, let go. And I want to address one of these individuals here, and I think I'm going to add it to this particular video about gender identification problems. A detoxification specialist is a big deal. We can come up with another name if you want. But all I have to say is that there's no other true way of getting rid of that which is accumulating and becoming obstructive in the human body and becoming inflammatory. Is detoxification. We've learned years ago that chemical medications have no world within this. They're simply there to treat symptoms, and they should only be used in stat needs, and none should cause fatal events. This is a very serious breach of love, of human consciousness. This breach that's done by the World Health Organization and the FDAs of the world, are going to lead them all into bad karmic problems because they're suppressing the truth to mankind. That is blocking God from expressing itself in its higher levels. That's not something I would take easily, to be honest with you. We've got to drop all these differences in terms of ideologies of health because none of them lead to Wellville. Those of you who went back to the paleo diet, I have people calling me sick as a dog now. You can't use these high proteins. You got to get away from them. And this was taught vigorously in the 1800s and the early 1900s. Nobody listens. Those that have ears shall hear for sure because you're more aware. But don't put a time to your detox because, it's a relative thing. You could dig in until your symptoms are gone. That's where most people do when you're working with the client. When they feel good, they go on. For the healers there, keep pushing until you really know you've regenerated your problems and that you've created a new view of yourself. Because this is an incredible move for each and every one of you souls to get out of here. To become more awakened to reality, to be able to serve and give to others that which you know to be true, that which you are becoming. And it'll bring a oneness to this planet and an elevation and pull us out of the warring consciousness that exists. We must stand for two things, truth and honesty and health. These are the two things that I fought for let's say, many lifetimes. Now, balance, real important to maintain balance. And I suppose you could tie this in, and I suppose you could call it the art of self-discipline, because as you bring discipline, self-discipline in your life, you're controlling your mind. It's hard to control the mind with the mind. But it's also hard when you're working in the now and you're not using the mind to think. It's also hard too because you forget. And so you might go through experiences a couple times. So there's a lot of special, a whole nother way of learning how to maneuver yourself in creation when you're working in the now. And still be able to use that mind and to procure those things that are required by you for survival. So the individuality of detoxification. You've seen that a lot. You've seen it in people on YouTube. Babe, you're one of them, where you've just been individually. You've been on juice fasting for amount of time. This definitely probably won the Guinness World Book of Records. I think that's for sure. But you remember that the difference between the vegetable juices and the fruit juices, these are major differences. So you have to take it, and you have to work with your clients at the level that they can take it. And you want to always breed love and joy and excitement about their health and your health. Because when you feel good, when you feel free, and your consciousness is open, joy and ecstasy are some of the things you experience. And you don't let anybody take you off of that, because that's what creation is. As you get happy, you got the heels of unhappiness following you down the road. That's just duality, unfortunately. Or fortunately, however you wish to look at that. So I just wanted to cover the individuality and that which breeds self-discipline, because self-discipline, the more self-discipline you have, the more awareness you have of self. Some people are not raised with self-discipline. I see this a lot. A lot of mothers are afraid to discipline their children. Yeah, well, try not disciplining them and see what happens. See that too. So discipline is a big issue here, because if you don't, there's an old saying that if you're not raised with discipline, you never develop self-discipline. So discipline is simply the control of the mind and the control of the emotions by the higher self. So I wanted to cover that with you. I probably have a lot I wanted to say, and to the end of that. But there's all kinds of cravings that come in that pull you off of this. There's the candida cravings of starch and breads and cheeses, to be more precise, anything that's fermented. You have cravings of worms and stuff. Some people crave proteins because they've got some worms that they're dealing with. But by far, detoxification is your golden key. No matter how hard it is, how rough it is, how slow or how fast you have to go, it is the golden key that leads to the changing of the consciousness of the cells. And that will translate into RNA, DNA, and chromosome changing. You will change the whole morphology of a cell and create a much more functionable cell. I know it's hard for the allopathic community to grab thinking like this, because they don't understand consciousness, a lot of them. And they don't know so is not another nature path either, obviously. And how these different levels of consciousness can be attained not only by the individual, but by the cell. If you get too lost looking physically at things, this is the least aware level there is in creation as far as we've been able to find. This level, getting down, if you ever can be out of body and want the experience, you could probably get a master or someone to help you take you back into some plant life. If you ever go back into plant life, just for the experience, you will see real quick how different the human level of consciousness is in terms of more freedom, believe it or not, more ability to create, more of awareness of the all. As limited as that is, I've been back in plant life, and I'm telling you, it's claustrophobic as all get out. I've been back a couple times just to see, and it's lucky you can get out of them. Pulling yourself into some of these states, that's probably a video of another color, but pulling into some of these states for you that are out of body traveling. And Angel, I don't know why, I've got your chart here to call you, I just hadn't had the time. But I tell you, a lot of you are going through some very high spiritual experiences. And all I can tell you is you keep surrendering to the now, to the self, to God, to your whatever you're viewing. You don't want to surrender to beings and open yourself up, open your consciousness, your door, your mind to other beings. Because you don't have to. You are the ultimate it. You only have to go to the self, which you already have. It's just that it's layered to get to that innermost brilliant self, because you're layered with the mind, and you got the emotions, and you got your physical body. You got all these bodies wrapped around you so you can be here. You can't be here, be a soul. God can't be here in all of its all. There's no way. It explode the universe. Can't do that. You got to step that power down. Just like you have to cut power down to get to 120. So it's important, just important to understand those things if you want to grow. And some of you are getting insane out there. And the same thing is true spiritually as it is physically in terms of health and raw foods. I've told some people that have gotten themselves way out there to balance out. Some people have gotten so out of balance, I've had to tell them to totally forget about God, forget about all, get physical. I've worked with the spiritual field and Sheila's all my life. And health as well, at least all my adult life. And all I can say is that it's an incredible road to wake up to who you really are and to the highest worlds that you can experience, even in creation. So much grander than here, there's no question. But you're here, and you have to work and awaken and get your bodies healthy. To get the mind healthy, you have to shut it up and get control of it. Discipline it. Same thing with ego. Ego gives you the individuality. But how bad do you want to know the all of the all? Because to know the all, you can't have the little self. To know who you are in the ultimate side of yourself, you can't have the little self standing in the way. You can't image yourself physically because the physical body is only at this level. It's gone. Now you have a different looking body. So you will see how all this is as you progress. Sometimes when you get to this point, when you're traveling, astral travel, then you soul travel. You start to learn that these worlds, you can move throughout these worlds with your other bodies. You can put your attention, you can move your attention from your physical body and put it into your emotional body. Or you can put your attention from the emotional body, you can pull it into the mental body. Or you can have the ultimate run and be that which is totally without any activity or duality facing you. There's so much you can do. There's so much excitement to be had. Pull yourself out of some of these shallow depths that some of you put yourself in and get yourself well. No matter what it takes. Some of you young souls are real beautiful, bright souls. You were put in here with some bodies that need to be fixed. That's why you're excited about getting well, because your mission is coming to focus. It's going to be coming in here pretty soon. So getting yourselves well has been very, very important for you. And some of you are suffering at some of these young ages. And I want to tie this in to a letter I got from an individual that has gender identity disorder. This person was born in a male body that totally feels and believes female. And I'll say this, you have to realize that there's a lot of sudden deaths. There's a lot of deaths from airplane crashes. There's a lot of deaths out there. When an accident happens like that, there's a lot of spiritual masters around working with those souls that are in this and helping these souls to move out of that, to their next experience. You wouldn't believe the level of care that's given throughout the God worlds and what's going on. So a lot of times one will leave a lifetime quicker than they thought, quicker than was supposed to, supposedly, and put on another body. Sometimes we're given a body so fast we're still living female or male in one lifetime, and suddenly we're in another body, but we're still back living there. That happens a lot. There's so much death, so many fast deaths. And we're reincarnating that fast that you sometimes you forget you're in a male body, but you're still living and thinking female, and that is obvious. It's all over the place, because this is why we teach the God worlds. Why in my classes I teach the God worlds, guys. Those that have been to our school, it's important to understand that. So even a question like this, you can help this person understand that it doesn't matter whether you're male or female. Get out of that thinking. Get away from that. If you want to know anything higher, if you want to know God, or you want to know much more than you do, don't be either one. Play both sides of the fence. Because in reality, each and every one of you has nothing to do with any gender whatsoever. Each one of you are soul. There's no gender to soul. There's no male or female souls. That doesn't exist. That's only in duality. So if you identify with one or the other, who cares which side you identify with? Hopefully now with the Supreme Court here in this country, we'll start what Europe has been well aware of for so long. Maybe we'll start opening up to those realizations that it doesn't matter what body you're identifying with. And yes, there's testosterone and there's estrogen. And you can pump estrogen herbs, no question. I've never seen anybody take themselves with that and work that and the herbal side of this. But I'll say from the spiritual side, who cares which one you are? You know, see yourself as both and enjoy the fact that you can play the role of male or I can play the role of female. If you want to change your body to adapt to that, who cares? That's the rhythm of creation. It doesn't matter. These are atoms, can be rearranged. Your body parts can be changed. Who cares? That's not the living reality. Female or male, not the living reality. It's the illusion of your experience, controlled by hormones and steroids. Big deal. You want to touch who you are. You want to go beyond the illusion of duality, of playing the role of male or female. Doesn't matter which one you choose. If you want to build up and try the herbal side, then use the herbs that are for the female, particularly black cohoshas and things that inspire estrogen. But why play the game? Just enjoy each side. Enjoy the fact that you're female and enjoy the fact that you're male. Who cares? You know, that's the problem. Don't make it a deal that you're fighting with because that's your trap. And you're being locked in that trap because you're neither one. You're so much more. So much more, each and every one of you. The brilliant beings that you are. That's why I love you all. Because I'm looking at God here. And you must accept that reality. You know, do like Jonathan Rumi. See God in every little atom. Know that it's all God no matter what. Only one creator. And experience that. If you don't know and you're atheist, okay, good. Forget it all. Live in the now. And you'll see. You'll see truth only when you let all things go. Sometimes you have to let all things go. You have to let go of the female. You have to let go of the male. You have to let go of the religion you're in. You have to let things go to get yourself free sometimes so you can experience these things at a higher level. I can still go into a church and enjoy the beauty of it. And I can listen to a good sermon. Better to have a higher thinker. I've seen some good sermons come out of different teachings. You know, good classes, good meditations. But just remember, who's the meditator? You can play all these levels, but you simply have to wake up to the now. That's where you, the real you, are. That's beyond your mind, beyond your emotions, those things that elude you from yourself. Those things that give you that sense of separation from your lovers and from your family and from yourself even. But it's so slick. This creator, so slick. You don't even know when you're using your mind and you're not. It's so subtle almost. Interesting. This whole thing is tied to lock you here and spend quite a time here. So all I can say to those people that have gender identity problems, let it go. Be whatever you want to be. Who cares? You know? Be a female. Be a male. If you want to change your body to look like that, do whatever you want. Do the steroid thing. But you want to be real careful, you know, about messing with your adrenal glands. And this thing might have nothing to do with your hormones or steroids. It might be a past life experience where you were translated too fast. I've seen that. I mean, there's worlds and worlds way beyond what common man here in this physical world is seeing. He's limited himself. And he's limited himself in a violent way. And so we have to get this opened up here, I would think. Another problem to this individual is if I eat starch, that comes out somewhat undigested. Well, let me just say here what this individual's saying, and you hit it right on the head, my friend, is you hit at the pancreas. If you're not digesting carbohydrates, there's only one gland to go to, and that's your pancreas. And that's exactly spot on, so I would work on that. Sounds like you've got some stomach problems here, so you really want to get into this gut and clean it up. The average person has horrible bowels. A horrible GI tract. So you just want to get in there and clean it up. Well, how do you get in there and clean it up? Detoxification, the golden key that unlocks all these doors to beauty, to love, to reality, but also to a good physical experience, a much better one. So have fun with this. Have fun with all these things, and don't let these things get you, any of you, whether it's gender identity problems, whether it's I can't seem to get well. Sometimes you're in your own way trying to get well. That's why I teach you guys to step back. Try to get out of your mind and your emotions, because those levels have been aberrated. Those levels have been conditioned. Those levels are full of propaganda and half-truths. And sometimes we get in our own way, not really realizing that. Some people see that. I think originally we saw this one lady when you guys first started here with me that just loved her problems. Carried them around with her. And some people do. Down here in Florida, you see it a lot of the older people. They love their medical doctors. It's attention, or they love to go in the emergency room. You see some of them repeat offenders. They love to come in and they get loved on. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I would work on that. And probably eating stinky needles with herbal formulas. Yeah, stringent. Well, I think you're right on here. You know, you really work on the GI broom. You really want to work on yourself here with the bowels and the kidneys. Absolutely. So I'm sorry that I missed your first message, but I've got so much to answer. I really apologize when I can't get to you guys. And so I don't know whether to cut this one off or make this a long one. You guys get mad if I make this a long one, or maybe I could cut it right now and then we could, I'll see. You know, if you see a little bumpy ride here, it's just that Chris will cut this here and we'll start doing Q&A here. So for the sake, if he wants to cut it, we'll start this section with Q&A. Or an extension of the individuality of detoxification. Because I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. I've got to go do a bunch of things. But I want to thank JS here. Thank you for your comment, my friend. I really appreciate that. And thank all of you guys. You know, this Vimeo thing, I don't know. You know, I've never been. I'm an old country boy, man. So I think it's better too. Someone asked me, Vagalus or something, about carrots and things. You know, carrots, they're starchy veggies. What can I say? And we just got, in the 60s and 70s, carrot juice fasting was the thing. And the problem is that it wasn't overly a deep experience. And so those of us that went more fruitarian thinking, wow, the Arnold Ehret people, you know, got to see a whole nother level of experience. And so I studied those that were practicing fruitarianism in the healing arts, and there weren't many. Arnold Ehret was one of the few. And there's Raymond Bernard. He was very much a fruitarian thinker. And, of course, there was my old friend, Professor Hotima. George Clements. I don't know whether he attained fruitarianism or what. Not that it's important. It's important to get your body turned around and well. And then it's important to also remember balance in that and work on your spiritual side as well. There's so many fun things. So much cool stuff to do and have fun with. Look at all your gemstones. I mean, there are some cool things on this planet you can play with. Sherry, can I take kidney formula without the lymphatics? Absolutely. I would take the adrenals with that, though. That way you take an adrenal formula and a kidney formula. I tried to put some adrenal herbs in with all the kidney formulas just to have the kick in case you just did the kidney formula. So, you know, see how you do with that. Absolutely, you can, though. You can take any one by itself. I just found through the years that when you go focused, and you're going after the rhythm of the body, the movement of sewage out of the body, whether it's digestive sewage, which is through the GI tract, or cellular sewage, which is through the skin and kidneys, or any other hole you got, basically. These two have to be considered and understood in relationship to the cell. And then acid and base chemistry must be understood in relationship to the cell. So I think where allopathy really steers wrong is this whole idea in biochemistry of alkalosis as opposed to acidosis. And I think we've proved, and you can prove over and over and over again, that most people suffer from extreme acidosis. Larry says, will these remedies make new cells? Well, they inspire the building of new cells, absolutely. And their synergist action on the cell. That's kind of like putting a cell under stress and acids and breaking down the cell, stressing the cell, or putting a cell into nirvana land. I always call fruit eating like putting a smiley face on every cell in your body. And for those that are working on getting well, use your mind then in a positive manner for your wellness. Make your mind see all your cells well, and use your mind to put smiley faces on all your cells. Use your mind to the positive and the well side. So thanks for those. Here's one subject. Let me see here. Let's see. Although I'm not a vegan yet, I'm interested to know what is your roadmap, so to speak, for an average Joe like myself or a lot of others. I don't want to jump all in and then burn out. I've heard a little about... Well, that's an interesting thought. I kind of like this person. This is Ram. And, Ram, you probably have a lot going on there with that. Well, I'll say this. If you want to start out with this 80-20, 80% raw, 20% cooked. That's always been a good balance. If you get less than 60% raw, even 50-50, you're not going to get the results. I mean, if you use the herbs and you're doing 50-50, yeah, you're going to get better. But you're not going to get deep tissue tumors out and things like this. You're not going to get deep into the body. So the more you move up toward 75-25 even, better. And if you could do something like that, and then every once in a while, spend a whole day raw. So, I'm just going to do all raw today and see what that's like. So you do all day raw. And then you go, you know what? I can do that another day, I think. So you do another day. And then, you know what? I can do 3 days, baby. And 3 days you do. That's how you play this game. The mind, you're almost fighting your own bodies in their own desires and their own wants. This like records. The mind is conditioned. The emotions is conditioned responses. The real consciousness is not in the bodies. It's in you. The awareness behind even these bodies is you. These are just bodies. These are just mechanical things like the physical body, like the human brain. The only thing that powers all this up is you. You're the power. Without you, nothing powers up in your bodies. The bodies deteriorate. The cells, all that magnetic energy dissipates. The consciousness is the supportive mechanism of the individuality of creation. And it's only through that power of the self, of the soul, that ignites individual expressions. Without that, you can't ignite your mind or your emotions. That's the light. That's the awareness behind that. And if you can get beyond the conditioning that the mind is, get beyond that, put the book down. Yeah, that's good. So, something like that would be a good idea. You can do that. I would say that you always want to get the habit of eating fruit for breakfast, always. Because when you wake up, your lymph systems are all backed up, your eyes are gooking, your tongues are coated, you need to flush those kidneys, and your nervous system is, hopefully recharged. But with weak adrenals, some people wake up more tired than they went to bed. With that and the thyroid. So this is the thing, is as you charge up, as you bring energy into these areas. Consciousness is energy. Food is energy. But all things are just these aspects of consciousness, little states of consciousness. It's just that fruit is one of the highest expressions in these states of consciousness when it's talking about food for the Homo sapien. That would not be so for the lion. who is a true carnivore. That wouldn't be nectar for him. Although my horse, being a herbivore, certainly loved fruit. Almost every animal loves sweet things. So something like that, and then move yourself more and more into all raw, and then into more fruit, more fruit, more fruit, and sometimes people have to work that way. For me, a good detox is going to be fruit at least all day long and a salad at night, and some of you have had to let go of the salad because you get to dig deeper, and that's the key. That's rain. Ah, good. We got a lot of rain down here. Now, I've heard your analysis of how bad protein is in general. However, in sports medicine, they are all into proteins. Yeah, and look at the friggin' problems that all these sports people are having. You know, incredible arthritis, plenty of RA. I mean, it isn't. You have to get deeper. You have to know these sports people and find out their health issues to get a little deeper look. Because what appears. You know, it's unfortunate that sports has got into that way because there's so many people that love sports, but that wreck their body doing sports. We get them all the time. And especially if you're dealing in endurance. You don't want to do proteins if you're dealing in endurance. Proteins don't give you any endurance. Are you kidding? You get stiff, you get acidic, you lose your kidneys. Are you kidding? Besides, your body can't use protein. We got to get rid of this stupid idea of protein when it is that which your body responds most aggressively against. Whether it's a protein of dairy products or dead tissue, doesn't matter. Your body doesn't like that. Your body loves raw chemistry, living, breathing, synergistically bound chemistry with it all impacted there. Matter of fact, your body loves the whole. With that, you have all the flavors and everything else. We just have, in sports, we have got so turned around. And this is the problem. People in sports are losing their health so fast, it's not even funny. I mean, it's just not the way to do it. And if one doesn't believe it, I could care less. But it is time that people in sports, and I get a lot of pro athletes in here, it's time people are wakening up. They're coming in here hurting. And a lot of you guys that start working with people are going to see this and can help these people get well because they're suffering so much. You know, by the time a person wakes up with years of protein and you wake up to RA, rheumatoid arthritis, is not fun. Your joints are going, everything's going, and not fun. When you can go over on the amino acid side, which is what the body requires for muscle, not protein, amino acids, then you bypass a whole acid hit on that. The amino acids, plenty. Just alfalfa alone. I work with a lot of bodybuilders, and alfalfa is one thing. Between alfalfa and our superfood blend, I can't tell you how strong you can get. You have to look at other factors. Strength, not just size, strength, endurance. And those things come when you remove the restriction. Remember energy and electricity and how resistance and what resistance means. You're removing the resistance to the highest energy there is, and that's your consciousness. When you can not sleep, not stop, not have any need for rest, you're at Wellville. Dr. Morris, can you make a video about thyroid, high cholesterol, and type 2 diabetes? I have done on all these, but I will make a video. We're going to do one on diabetes with Marcy, so you all can get in. She's a type 1. And we'll talk about type 2. That's the adrenals, of course, thyroid, and high cholesterol. We talked about cholesterol here just the other day in relationship to weak adrenals, that the LDL pathway is, of course, through adrenal steroids. The person just has a quick question. I would like to know if Cassandra is effective in combating hyperhidrosis. My 11-year-old daughter was born with excessive sweating of the hands and the feet. Okay, let's stop a minute. This is a good question. Tamara. Hi, Tamara. You know, when your Cassandra Berry is... I mean, I do have it, I think, in some kidney formulas and stuff, but when you're sweating aggressively through the hands and the feet, what does that tell you? Your skin is what? Your body's third kidney. Now, the problem is it's through her hands and her feet, which is where the biggest pores are. That's why we can put a poultice on your feet or your hands and it absorbs right in. That's why you have to be careful what you get on your hands, because you absorb quite quickly through the hands and the feet. But what's interesting, this person's not sweating on the body anywhere else. That's suggestive of thyroid or a very backed up subcutaneous level. But when you see the sweating of the hands and the feet, you're going to go right to your daughter's kidneys. And I mean, really, and she's 11 years old. What's that mean in today's world? Definitely kidney and adrenals. Just how chronic is she? And that's where you want to get a picture of your daughter's eyes, honey, and take a look at her and see what you see, because sweating like that is simply a kidney problem. Fix the kidneys. You don't have to treat this, because you just have to fix the kidneys. But you want to do that at 11 years old, because that's the system of all the what? All the acids, all the medical doctors thinking about diseases fall on that side. So this little girl needs to fix her kidneys really bad. This isn't a disease problem. This is a kidney filtration problem, and you want to fix your adrenal glands at 11 years old? Are you kidding? It isn't if, it's just how much. I noticed it when she was an infant, but didn't think anything of it at the time. But now through these years, she sweats profusely on her palms and feet. It greatly bothers her. Get her kidneys filtering and you'll change that whole mechanism. Maybe a genetic thyroid weakness she has. Well, I mean, if she's cool, you can check that to see why she's not sweating all over. But aggressive sweating, even all over, is kidney weakness. And thank God she can sweat. I'm just saying that this is her safety mechanism right now. You don't want to stop that with pharmaceuticals. That's ridiculous. What you want to do is fix her kidney and adrenals, honey, and you'll have your daughter change your whole way about it, and you'll save her from, who knows. At chronic levels now, these kids are full of cancer. There's so much going on here, and not the word, full of acids that are destroying cells. Any thoughts on how to stop the sweating hands and feet? Absolutely, sweetheart. Get your daughter on a good diet, too. This is Casey from Windows Mail. Oh, Sid from Windows Mail. Mono fruit diet and stretch marks. Hello, Dr. Morse. I was curious what effect a mono fruit diet could have on stretch marks and what the recommended time frame would be. Interesting thought. Any stretch marks, any scarring at all, I think you have to realize that as you continue to alkalize the body, as cells continue to strengthen, that scar tissue adhesions will be chewed up just like bone is, excessive bone around a previous fracture. You'll start to see the body do this. How long one has to get up on that, I can't tell you. I say it's different with each and every one of us. And this goes back to why this video this morning, the individuality of detoxification. And the thing that I forgot to mention, that's why I keep on rolling, then I start remembering things, of course. And that is the level that each one of us are at, whether lymphatically or whatever, is different. So where some might have chronic lymph, others do not. And it might take someone much sooner time. Some people don't start filtering in the kidneys for a year. I can't fathom that. And others within a few weeks. So it has been a wild ride for some of you just to get your kidneys filtering. But I think in all of us working and getting at this level of thinking, we will move this level into this world. It's essential, and hopefully push out these negative forces and bring more balance to this level, so those that are sleeping can awake a little more, those that are meant to. It's not meant that all souls become aware of themselves and everything else. That doesn't happen. Not supposed to. This is a created universe. All this is for your dining pleasure, but it's building your ability to take full responsibility for yourself and to control that which is your universe, to become aware of this. Because the sooner you can control your universe, the sooner you get higher into the God worlds again. You can become more of who you are. And it's just a long process for some in terms of time. But there is no time in the now. There is no time in the Godhead. Time is only in creation. The understanding of the movement between two objects against itself. But your thinking is real good, I'll tell you that. That's why I love how you guys think. Sergeant Mark, since I was a child, due to a growing disorder I had. Now, that might be interesting. A growing disorder, where could we find that at? Pituitary? Perhaps. Be something to look at there. Now, I have been plagued with thick, deep stretch marks since I was a child. Oh, okay. My bones grew 8 inches in under 2 months. See, that's pituitary right there. So that's telling me you really need to detoxify, of course, and get your sinuses and get your head detoxified and cleaned out, and then get all your endocrine glands back into a state of balance and let your body rebuild itself, and just see how all that takes place. Get a picture of your eyes, start looking with your eyes. That's what all you guys, just get a picture of your eyes, no matter how you get it. The lessons are up there on YouTube or Vimini or whatever we are, Vimeo or whatever it is. We should be up there. Oh, I wanted to say this too, the letter from you Facebook people. This is Debbie. Absolutely, sweetheart. Work with Chris. I'd love to see you have on our own place, your own site, where you guys can go and just really have a good chat room and stuff. So you guys work that however you want. I think that's an excellent idea, you guys. I really do. Things are getting weird out there on these Facebooks and everything. It's like with YouTube. Now, we have a civil rights attorney. She's been to our classes, real sweet lady. Her daughter was shot bad during a home invasion thing, a sad thing, and doing better. But she looked at all the YouTube legalese and said she didn't see anything we were violating. So we haven't heard anything yet. And you just wonder with all this in America anyway, what's going on. A little scary. This government is running scared. This government screwed its people so bad in America that it's running scared, because it's the truth is coming out, and you can't stop the truth. That's why I always say, always be truthful, because it'll come back and get you if you're not. So you just be truth. Be always truth and love and light and God and your hand to others and your arms around others. It's all good stuff, I am now 30 years old and have never been able to dress the way I want or wear bathing suits or enjoy activities such as swimming, water parks, boating. Oh, you're a female. I am obviously miserable in the summertime because I'm basically condemning to wearing clothing to cover myself. Well, sweetheart, just, you know what? First of all, don't give a hoot what anybody else thinks. I know you've been told that before, but you got to get to your spiritual side and don't give a hoot. And the other side of that is get your body healthy and see what your body can do with these scars or with the stretch marks. And I'd also look at my parathyroid gland. Remember that? Be looking at that when you're dealing in bones, connective tissue, scarring, things like this, just for the calcium presence of it. I've done much research over the years, and my conclusions are there is no cure. Well, because you got to get to the cell level. You got to get into the tissue. And also, I have to tell you, there's pituitary involvement here, no question about it. So maybe been bringing that into balance, getting of course, remember, the pituitary is tied to the transverse colon. So by cleaning up the bowels, getting up in the head and getting up a circumbranian nerve and getting up in there and getting everybody healthy, the body will turn itself and fade these stretch marks away till you can't hardly see them, at least. It's definitely worth it. I've seen people get rid of them. So just see what you do. You could use some salves, comfrey salves, golden seal salves. A mono fruit diet is going to be the highest diet that you can achieve. Remembering balance, of course, in that process, because it is a level man is not accustomed to. because it's introducing energy and raising your level of awareness to levels that are unknown to you at this time. And this is why it changes the person. Sometimes it's scary and people run from it. Sometimes people are confused. They don't know how to deal with it. Just relax. Just relax and live in the now. Just be. Just become the watcher of the universe and the giver of love. Give the God force to others. Be that, the direct giver of God to all life. It'll change you. Let me see. All right, I'm going to give that to them about the Facebook. This is pretty nasty. Is this a worm? This is from Maggie in New Zealand. Pretty good, Maggie. Got some nasty looking little creatures there, looks like to me. It's fun to get the crap out, isn't it? I tell you, it's like, ooh, that came out of me. Oh my God. But that's good. I mean, this is good. This is why the art of detoxification, you guys are learning it. Learn the art. Realize the individuality nature of detoxification, that each person is different. And as a person detoxifying the self, realize that yourself. Get your eyes to see what you're up against. That's the beauty of iridology, is seeing what you're up against, seeing the tissues you want to work on. Because you're your own healer, remember? And many of you are becoming world healers. Just incredible. Dimitri, you're really something else. You guys are really doing the world incredible favors. It's just hard to explain the God people coming in here now. It's exciting. And it's what I've been waiting for, a lifetime, time after time. So, Maggie, what we got here? Firstly, I would like to, thanks, Maggie. I'm writing you from Auckland, I don't know how to pronounce that, New Zealand. I wrote you 6 months ago regarding my son then, 3.5 years old. He had a vaccine damage at 18... He had vaccine damage at 18 months old, had absent seizures hours after he received 3 vaccines. And I've seen this so much, where children go into seizures. I'm working with this one girl that has, up to 30 seizures a day. I mean, I don't know how these souls are going to rectify that with themselves. This is why I say the unawareness of this. And I saw this thing on Fox News yesterday about chemotherapy. And they're going to want to move away from chemo and use more targeted drugs. And just the vomitous nature of the whole thinking process. But it was enough to say that, yeah, chemo's killing everybody. It's filtering down. And then when they realize liability, we've been poisoning people. We've been putting Drano down people. So that's on the news now. They're going to find a way to get themselves, just what they're doing in Congress here in this country, finding a way to get themselves out of trouble like the IRS. This isn't tiny. They're the most corrupt group of people I've ever seen. You don't give people power. The people gave the Congress too much power. And then Congress gave the president too much power. These guys don't know what they're doing. They're children playing with everybody's lives. The next day he showed a dramatic effect, not making eye contact, staring into space, and not at all himself. We hoped it was temporary, but he slowly regressed over the next year and 2.5. Well, I'll tell you why. Have you started detoxification probably right then, and you work with more brain and nerves, because these are neurotoxic effects. That's why you see the seizures. Anything that suppresses the nervous system can spasm, seize, or convulse the nervous system. So this is why I came out with the antispasmodic, to help that. At the same time, you're going into the adrenals, you're cleaning out any of the neurotoxins themselves. That's the value of detoxification. That's why it's the golden key. And it goes in, you remove these neurotoxins by detoxification. At the same time, you're going to build the myelin sheaths. At the same time, you're ramming up the neurotransmitters, because these little babies are already, that's the problem. When you see your baby going into seizures from vaccines, your baby was born complicated with adrenals and the autonomic already. That's what they don't get. Or they do get it. I don't know if anybody saw Jesse Ventura's latest one on the Illuminati, but it's just frightening. And they're in this country because they think they own this country since our bankruptcy. They don't. The federal government is not the states, and yet they're moving into Arkansas. I mean, a city underground, major. So they're seeing something coming. Oh, this poor lad, I tell you, and lost all, oh, listen to this, and lost all speech and remains nonverbal. That makes me want to puke. When someone did it over vaccines, thinking it's going to save lives, this is a lie that spreads across the universe. You detox if you get a cold or flu, if you're worried about a viral. Clean the terrain. I mean, it's just so sad that this poor soul is locked now. But you can get this body back. His body remained along with all the autistic symptoms, but he wasn't present in his body and totally in his own world. At 2.5 years old, I started changing his diet. Yeah. At 3.5, I found you on YouTube. I wrote you, and you suggested the protocol of endocrine glands, kidneys, brain and nerve, parasite. What about upper circ? He is still receiving 10 drops 3 times daily in fresh pressed juice. My son is on a vegan, homemade, gluten-free diet. I made him a lot of fresh pressed juices. But as most children with autism do, he also restricts his diet to a few items. Yeah. I think the reason for this is the yeast overgrowth. I'll stay on Parasite M. He, as he seems to have an addiction to gluten and still cries if he sees someone eating bread. Yeah, candida probably a lot in there. Well, when the adrenals are down, it's hard to have sugar metabolism, and then you have candida coming in or fungus coming in, you know. When they're gone through detox symptoms, his saliva was so acidic that it burned his skin around his mouth. Oh, that's horrible. Oh, man. But do you see how acidic? See what you guys... With what we're doing here, it'll help you to work with your children and things. I really admire this lady here. He's so acidic that his saliva burnt his skin. Holy crap. That is so acidic. Very little drainage. It tells you that the poor lad was born with very chronic adrenals is what I see here. And a lymph system hardly moving. So it held those neurotoxins in, shutting down that nervous system, creating convulsions. Burned his skin around his mouth and eroded the material of his t-shirts. Holy crap. Then I would include carrot and spinach juice to his fruit juices to slow the detox down. Smart thinking. I quickly released that autism was a toxic overload, overgrowth of pathogens, a gut disorder, and heavy metal poisoning, which produces the behavior. But what I did find that parasites played a huge role. Wow. Since my son refused to potty train, even though I constantly tried, he still wears pull-ups most days. Since I started giving the Parasite M, I noticed small creature-like stuff coming out. On closer inspection, I realized it was worms. Cool beans. Yeah. After each worm, I would see a reduction of his autism symptoms. Look at this. This is just good stuff. And this is what this is made of. This is why I do this. This mother is taking charge, getting her boy back, and look at this and the value of this. This mother is making a great healer right now. I mean, this is good stuff here. And these are pictures, obviously, of the worms. Wow. Good job, honey. That's all I got to say. I would say he lost so many symptoms that he is 50% recovered. Yoo-hoo! Keep going. Upper circ, too. Remember that. Thanks to the knowledge I gained from... Oh, thanks. So my questions are... Can I give the Parasite M and Parasite G capsules to my son that's almost 4 years old? Yeah, I think you only need to give him about 1 capsule Parasite G and maybe 1 capsule Parasite M. Do that for... a couple of weeks and see. If there's no worms, wait a couple of weeks and then give it to them again. We've got to remember eggs and hatching of eggs and stuff. So I would probably do it 2 weeks, take a 2-week break, do it 2 weeks, take a 2-week break for a couple of months and see what you get out there. See if you don't get a nest or something coming out with them. he wouldn't take the capsules, so I can empty them into fruit juices or applesauce. Absolutely. Would they be even more effective than the tinctures? Absolutely. For gut, pancreatic, liver fluke, stuff like that, absolutely do the capsules. I think for the capsules, definitely worms are that's the only way to do that. And for him, he's 4 years old, one probably, to me, maybe one capsule 3-4 times a day. I think that'll be enough for the little man. One of each one, parasite M, parasite G. But do it for about 2 weeks. Take a 2-week break, do it 2 weeks, and just see if you can get a hold of the eggs. And once you get the hatching season and all that done, you'll be good. And then the damage created can be rebuild. You're working on the nervous system. You're working on the adrenals. And I tell you what, I would probably move to an adrenal glandular, the 200s, and break them in half. And give your young man probably, I would give my young man probably a half, 3 times a day or something like that to promote adrenal awareness and adrenal function. That'll increase neurotransmitters, that'll rebuild myelin sheaths. At the same time you're up in here, at the same time you're detoxifying, but for the saliva to be so acidic, you can see why the seizures. And I would also check your young man's parathyroid as we go along so we don't lose teeth and everything else from that high acid interstitial fluid there. Will a protocol like this kill off the eggs? Yeah. For long, it would recommend me doing the parasite treatment to kill off the parasites. Absolutely. Will it help to kill parasites that might have migrated to other organs? Absolutely. Oh yeah, these herbs become systemic. I mean, we've killed them in people's brains all the time. I mean, people get... There's some pretty bad cases out there, let's just say. I have read in another mother's blog that she used a parasite treatment using neem tea. Chandra, I can't pronounce some of these, the malteous earth and stuff like that. Yeah, but you know what, really? The parasite M&G is focused on point for that. You don't have to go to these other things. Focused on point for that. Thank you for all your time, Maggie. Good job on your son. Keep getting. You'll have him full back here, and you've really pulled him out of that and created a whole new boy. And then he won't have all the other problems that he would have had. That's a good job that you did on your son. You see the value. In this case, just shows she's got her son 50% back. And as she moves deeper into the world of fruitarianism for him, gets into upper circulation too, I'd use that one too, move blood aggressively up in the head, along with the brain and nerve too. I'd move to the glycerins, probably, easier to take for the lad. But somebody talked to us about the glycerin problems that one company had. Got glycerin from China, which had some goodies put in it. You know what, our company is spot on, I mean, like up there in consciousness. So we hold anyone that has anything to do with manufacturing our products must have a higher level of awareness or we don't even deal with them. I can just tell you, I don't deal with anybody that's going to put lower consciousness vibes into our formula. It ain't happening around here because we need this high and as pure of formulas as we can get because they're interacting with our bodies. They're interacting with the cells, and we want only the best. We want the organics. We want the loved ones. We're going to try to get green bottles here. I hope we can get green bottles in the future. Well, I think there's enough said, eh? I mean, there's so much we can go over, and I am behind, but this is Sunday morning, and I got to go. But I tell you what, you all are so great. I'm so honored to be in your presence and to work with each and every one of you, whether it's on the inner or on the outer or both. So don't sweat the small stuff. Don't let anything bother you right now. What you see going on in the planet, don't let it get you. It's not your home. You're only playing here. And just remember that. This is only your playground. It's not who you are, and this is not your home. You're only here visiting. And just remember that. Be the watcher while you're the visitor. And you'll start to realize and remember who you really are. So I love you all. Have fun in your detoxes and take whatever it takes. Do whatever it does. Remember balance, but also full steam ahead. And see what you need for you. Not what someone else is doing. You can take what everyone else is doing and fit it for your shoe size. All right. I love you all. You have fun. I probably won't get this video to Monday, and hopefully you'll get it up Monday. And you have a good week. And so we'll see you, and keep watching your dreams. Keep working with the now. Don't forget that. Bye-bye now.